This episode of A Hero's Journey podcast is brought to you by SMP Inc., which is very good to us, huh, Chase?
Damn straight.
Yes, right here out of Las Vegas, and they've opened up new locations. JPS Computers out of Oregon. Alex and Jesse, thanks for taking care of us. And Red Rock Harley Davidson, who gave me a home when the world turned upside down, and here I am, extending this as Brian Hopkins' Hero's Journey podcast. And to those of you out there, the Rock Rage Radio listeners, the 20 million that tune in every month, thank you so much for listening to Rock Rage Radio. As they say, we are everywhere. This episode, Chase, it's crazy because we have 4 people in the room right now, and one of them has, I was off the air talking about how he has a little bit to do with who I am and where I've gotten to be. And he's one of my best friends now. He was my boss. I mean, I little did I know his name was Brian and not Ryan. I kept calling him Ryan. He was just the suit in the room. But this guy has changed my life. He's always looked out for me. A Hero's Journey podcast is about waking up and being the hero of your own story. And this guy finds himself inspiring others. He inspires me, and he doesn't even know it, but he leads people all over the world. Some of these high-rise buildings, some of these things that go on here in Las Vegas. This guy has a hand in a lot of it. I call him the CEO of everything. So the first guest on A Hero's Journey podcast is Mr. Bryan Lindsey, the CEO of everything. I love you, dude.
I don't know about that title, but
yeah, true story, man. Like your hand is in so many different things, and you had a hand in making a career for me or helping me build this career as Elvis Monroe. You were my boss over there.
Look, when I see talent and I see people with the right mission and vision in their life, and I just makes me want to help them.
Thank you. So. The thing is, Chase, what he said, mission and vision. I mean, it just rolls off his tongue. This dude is like, it's fire.
Not about this.
Exactly. But what I'm saying is during COVID, you found yourself in your wine room, finding a way to lead other CEOs of other companies and help them. I go on bike rides with you, and you've pointed out, hey, see that side of the hill there, that mountain? We rappelled down off that, me and a bunch of other CEOs, a part of this group that you guys do.
Yep.
And it's inspiring to know that you're taking your talents. You've done enough, man. You could just stop and go, I'm good. I'm just going to go on vacation. But I don't know anybody who works harder than you. This is true.
I don't even call it work.
That's
I think that's the fun part about it. It's just getting to do what I love and be around a bunch of badasses like you guys. And get to do as much cool, fun stuff as I want.
Well, thank you.
I appreciate that.
No, it's true. It's a true story. I'm not blowing smoke. I tell you this all the time off camera that when I grow up, I want to be you. But the problem is I'm older than you.
Nice.
So that's the problem. So you brought in a friend to A Hero's Journey podcast, and you sent me a text message, and you're like, hey, man, you got to get this guy on the show. Yep. And sitting next to you is Derek.
Derek Duncan.
Derek Duncan. Yep. I blanked for a second.
Oh, good. I got you back.
Staring right at you.
I got you back.
And tell everybody what you do.
I am the owner of the A7FL Nevada Division and the controlling interest in the A7FL L.A. Division. The A7FL is the American Sevens Football League. We are 7-on-7 tackle football with no pads and no helmets, the way God intended.
Yes. Brutal, dude.
Yes.
That's like when B and I were growing up playing football and just pickup games with dudes who were like, oh, I used to play at USC or whatever. I mean, we're playing pickup games, just getting lit up out there on the field. I've watched videos, man. That's insane. That's like UFC on the grass or on the turf.
Yeah, we like to consider ourselves, we say we are to the NFL what UFC was to boxing 20 years ago. We're right at that tipping point with a exciting brand of football that everyone understands, because you played this brand of football in your backyard. Everyone did. Everyone had a turkey bowl. Yep. Everyone went out there with their dad, mom, brother, sister. Yep. If you had a family, I guess not everybody. But most people went out with their dad, mom, brother, sister, and they picked sides, and you played tackle football in the backyard after you were done eating turkey. That's just what we did for the turkey bowl growing up. So now we've taken that and turned it into professional sport with real rules, a lot of safety. We created a safer game than even padded football. Our metrics say that our injuries per minute for player played is about 80% less than padded football.
Wow.
If you look at high school, college, or pros, all put together, all levels, we're about that 80% less mark. And it's because we've legislated a lot of the things that people get hurt with out of the game. Most injuries that happen in the NFL that are drastic is because of a helmet-to-helmet hit or a helmet to some other body part hit.
Right.
Because they use their body as they launch their body as a missile,
Yeah.
as a projectile. You can't do that without having a helmet on. You'll break your own head open. So,
Right.
So
And your neck.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So
Yeah.
it's inherently, when you see someone coming at you, you don't want to hit them with your face. And so if you don't have a helmet on to protect your face, you break down and hit them with your shoulder or arms like you're supposed to.
Wow. Well, I couldn't do this show without asking my friend. He has his own show here. It's called Grid Iron Junkeez. George, the teacher, Carmona.
So glad you had me on this one.
You lit up when I said that I was going to have Derek from A7 here.
I watched the YouTube highlights in high school. Yeah, I think even before high school when I was in middle school, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. You know what I mean? And to my understanding, I was like, oh, this will never like be an organized league past. I think it started in New York, correct?
Yeah, New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania were the primary 3 regions, and then it was called Town Beef back then. 2 sets of people from different cities that were neighboring cities got into it with a bunch of guys who used to play college ball. One of them is the owner and founder of the league. His name's Ryan DePaul. He had like 4 concussions in college and had to stop playing football. And he's having drinks at a bar one day, ran into some guys he played before. I'll kick your ass. Well, let's do it. Get it on the field. Let's find a place to play. 20 of them left the bar, jumped the fence, took a football, played ball that day, came back. Let's do this next week. 40 showed up like, hey, this is going to be fun. We got 2 teams. Came back the next week. 80 to 90 showed up like, hey, we got something going on here. Let's put some rules of this thing and have these 2 towns go against each other. And it turned into 4 towns, and it turned into 8 towns, and then it turned into 2015 into the A7FL, which is what we are today.
Amazing.
Yeah. I'm sure that kind of stole where the thunder was going right there, right? We wanted to see where the start of this was. Because like I was a young kid watching those highlights, and I mean brutal highlights. Like if you haven't watched AFL 7, big hits, you need to go spend the 3 minutes and come back to this exact moment. Crazy, right? Like, how do they let people do this shit legally? You yourself, did you used to play football? Like
yeah,
both of you guys?
I've played football the majority of my life while I was not broken. So I tore my body up at a very young age. I was a baseball recruit, high-level recruit, what we would consider a 4-star back when I was in school, but they didn't have star ratings for baseball back then. Had an offer for the Kansas City Royals when I was like 14 years old. That was my sport.
Oh, wow.
That was my sport. I was gonna,
yeah, mine too. Mine was baseball.
I was going to end up dominating, but I was a tall black kid, so I was I was told, you need to play basketball. And I loved basketball. And playing basketball on a scholarship at LA Laker basketball camp, I ruined my left knee while guarding Michael Cooper in the championship game of this thing. So
wow.
I had a high level of athleticism, but I've found out later in life that I have a genetic anomaly that makes me predisposed for injury. And although my entire life I kept playing competitive sports and getting injured over and over and over again, I never stopped. And now my body's telling me you should have stopped 20 years ago. But I love it.
But that's who you were, though.
It was.
You know, so you were an athlete. It's like we go back. You have your hand in Tough-N-UFF.
Yep.
Okay. So, and I know that if this was around when we were younger, you'd be on the mat. You would have been fighting in this thing, huh?
No doubt. I mean, I look at guys like Randy and Tito and all those guys, and you know, timing could have been a little bit different, and I'd still be there. But you know, getting kids into the world and having a family kind of changes your perspective on things.
Yeah, it does.
You know? Yeah, I got to be a cheer dad instead of a
which was awesome. Dude, I'd watch you on social media. Like, your daughters were taking over the world. When I say this, I mean it. They were world champions. Like, how many times?
5 times. Yeah.
5-time world cheerleader
over 20
champs.
national titles and 5 world titles between the 2 of them. Yeah, it's crazy. So that's where I spent my time, you know, instead of fighting. But yeah, I spent a lot of time in the cage, obviously, with Jeff Meyer, my partner at Tough-N-UFF, and the team there. I mean, you know, we've pushed a few hundred fighters through the league.
Yes, you have.
Ronda Rousey being one of the biggest. But yeah, I mean, lots of people got their start on our canvas.
I want to get back to the football thing, but I want to ask you a question because I just had this kid calls me uncle. Like he reaches out and says, "Hey, what's up, Unc?" One of my best friends was on the Olympic, the junior Olympic team when we were young, wrestler, and he trains these high school kids. He'll just grab a few of them and then makes them into national champions. And so he took Devin and made him a national champion. And Devin went to the Beavers, Oregon State. Not U of O, OSU. Exactly. Wrestled there, just finished.
They had a great program.
And he just hit me, and he's like, "Hey, I'm going to go wrestle on." He's trying out for the Olympic team now, and he's like, "If that doesn't work out, I need you on to. I'm going to get into the UFC route, the MMA world." And I'm like, "I know a guy." You know what I'm saying? Like we could.
The guy.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll get him in there.
Exactly.
You got to have cage time. I mean, everything changes when you get hit for the first time and you experience that walkout and that adrenaline dump, all the different things in the motions that you go through, getting locked into a cage with another human. So, there's nothing that explains the experience better than just walking in and.
But you're a wrestler yourself, so you're out there. Yeah, you're hitting the mat one-on-one kind of thing, and I watched him do that. Chris just took this young girl as well, Jordan, and she now just got a scholarship to Iowa on the wrestling team.
Clarissa Chun is the head coach at Iowa State. One of the girls from I have a youth wrestling program here in town called Legends of Gold. We're over off of Sunset and Patrick. And we've got 170 kids, kindergarten through high school. And they come out. We have 2 Olympic wrestling mats over there. And we're training some of the best young men and women in the country.
Wow.
We have national champions, world team members that train in our youth gym. And one of our, Sterling Diaz, came up through our program. She just got a full ride to Iowa.
There you go.
Yeah, she's
the golden ticket. That's like the number one school. And I was just so proud of her. He would call from time to time on the way to one of her matches, and they'd just be talking to me and wanting me to, give him a little story to let him know that this was true, because he used to be on the TV show.
Wrestling.
Exactly. It's one-on-one.
Nothing against you football boys.
Yeah,
I know it was the toughest, without a doubt. I mean, I did say earlier, you have to be equally as clinically insane to play AFL 7 football. But yeah, walking in a cage, but wrestling, it's the discipline factor. And so like, I think the one thing that always interests me is like when people say I can make you a champion, it's like, I believe it, because wrestling is a sport of 100% effort, and effort is rewarded more often than not in wrestling more than any other sport, I feel.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean,
you're cutting weight, everything.
And you're competing at the highest level while you're cutting weight. And having to go in and re-weigh in for day 2 while you're cutting weight, and competing against the best conditioned athletes. That's funny. All the football players would get off of football practice when the wrestling season started, and they're like, "I'm not in wrestling shape, man."
Oh, right. 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
One day of practice and they were dying, and it took them a month to get into wrestling shape once because they're bulking up for football and then they're coming in trying to cut weight.
It's unrealistic. I mean, I was expected at a point in like I just always kept going up in weight. I was like, I'm just not going to cut, coach. Like I just don't want to. I mean, it's as simple as that.
So you wrestled then?
I did.
Okay.
And I was actually, before the COVID year happened, I was the head wrestling coach at Vegas High School.
Oh, wow.
No way.
Yeah. So it was a position that opened up, and I was like, I can surround myself around knowledgeable people. I only wrestled for 2 years in high school, but I know how to coach.
That's how our gym got started.
Put people in spots.
It was because of COVID. All the kids had nowhere to go.
True.
Coaches were calling us saying, "Hey, you guys anywhere these kids can wrestle? There's nowhere for these kids to go. They can't go to their school. They can't go roll around in somebody's garage." So my buddy Bill Sullivan called me and said, "Hey," he's like, "can you help me?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, let's do it. So we found a warehouse space. We blacked out the windows, blacked out the doors.
Wow.
Because we didn't want to get in trouble for having this illegal thing going on. And I was like, screw it, man.
He's Fight Club.
He said on national radio.
Yes. Fight Club.
So as things started to open up again, we took the black off the door. We put the logo out. And then it just exploded from there. But, these kids needed an outlet, man. They had nowhere to freaking go. And when kids get trapped into their houses and they can't go compete, they can't socialize, and they can't do the things they do that motivate them, I mean, lots of bad things happen, and we created this opportunity for these kids, and it's one of the top ranked gyms in the country in less than 2 years.
You just gave me chills, bro.
Yeah, Bill Sullivan, the head coach there, is bonkers.
You gave me chills because I can't imagine my junior, senior year being taken away from me. Like you, I was an athlete too.
Leilani.
I know. I saw that. And
missed her junior year and her entire senior year. Not one day on campus.
Wow.
That's rough.
But she decided to go be a bodybuilder while she was a senior in high school.
and she won it all. She wins it all too. That's how disciplined this girl was.
Crazy.
Insane. But that's what I'm talking about. This guy's the CEO of everything. And I say that lightly. I'm joking. But he's a hand. When he sees there's a problem, he finds a solution. And if he can't put the people together to make that happen, he's the guy most of the time. And that's what's really cool. Even during COVID, we're talking about COVID, you reached out to me, you're like, dude, are you good? I'm like, no, I'm good. But then you check again, you good?
Can I buy another Harley for you?
Yeah. You did do that. You did do
How many Harleys did I buy from you?
Four Harleys. He bought 4 Harleys.
Yes. The pandemic.
Yes, it was. Yeah. He's like, please don't tell anyone I bought 4. Don't tell anyone that I bought anything during this, because there are people going through, hard times.
Yes.
And here, I don't want to put this in anyone's face. And I'm like, understood. And that's what kind of person you are, a good guy. Which brings me to this. How did you guys get involved?
It's crazy.
Because you're wearing the hat.
Yeah. So I was an early stage investor in the company right as it started getting going. And Nevada wasn't even, it was coming on the list. It wasn't even on the list or having even teams with names or anything yet. But we knew Nevada was coming. I said, look, I'm just going to invest in this because I believe in contact sports and I believe in football, and it's never going to go away. It's the America's biggest pastimes, right? So I invested in the company, and then as Vegas started getting closer, Derek and I were teed up because he got the rights for Las Vegas.
We were actually competing against one another for the position for Nevada.
Really?
And I was going to lose. But no, I promise you I was going to lose. And then when they told me who my competitor was that pulled out and what he was and what he was capable of, I said, is there any chance I can have his phone number?
Really?
I'd really like to get to know this guy. He's obviously got resources that I don't have. What I have is people and a team and players that I know I have access to from my time playing football and me staying involved with everything. He had corporate things. He had a really good coach in mind that was going to run the whole thing after we got together. So I'll tell the story real quick.
Please.
I said, can I get his number? And they said, let me find out. And Brian, like you said, great guy, said, yeah, have him call me. We met for lunch. Bonefish Grill, I think it was. Had just a fantastic get-to-know-you meeting. Derek, who are you? What are you about? I ran down what I'm doing. He's like, here's me. Here's what I'm doing. I got the CEO group. I'm doing ABC. Here's how I was going to do this thing. And I said, Brian, all I want is for you to stay attached to this thing. I would love to literally give you a piece of this. I paid for it. I would literally love to give you a piece of this so I can be in your world. He's like, don't worry about that. I'm going to help you anyway. I said, excuse me? He says, don't worry about that. I'm going to help you anyway. When it blows up and there's a bunch of money, we'll talk about you giving me something. I'm like, yes, please. So I basically said to him, I'm going to go away for a while, make this thing go. I'll tap you every now and then when I need some advice. He gave me some really great sponsorship deck ideas, helped me kind of build out my base infrastructure for the corporate level, just for some really base conversations. And then we got into it, and I kept tagging him, hey, this is happening. He's like, cool, let me know when you're doing this because I'll come by. All right, this is happening. Okay, let me know when you're doing A, B, or C because I'll take care of this. I'm like, cool. So then we finally got to a point where like I'm building. Like, Brian, we're there. And then we ran into each other a week later at a Boys and Girls Club event, and he's just dragging me around, introducing me to every single person there that was worth something there. And going,
wait a minute, was that the fundraiser?
Boys Night Out, the Boys Day Out, Boys and Girls Day Out.
Yeah. Okay. So it wasn't the fundraiser?
No, not the Sneaker Ball.
Okay, the Sneaker
we
Ball.
Went to
Sorry.
Sneaker Ball.
Yeah,
right. Sneaker Ball's amazing too.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be involved with that this coming year.
Yeah, great.
But he's dragging me around. Hey, have you met this guy? Have you met this guy? And just introducing me to every single person there that was a mover and a shaker, and then. That's just who Brian is. So,
without a doubt, man.
So every time I have something new or I hit a roadblock, I'm like, hey, B, here's what I'm up against. He's like, do A, B, C, try this, try that. And that's kind of been our relationship since then. And then I said, hey, we're at a point. I need you. It's time. We finally built this thing up. I'm ready to get involved. And he's like, I'm working on some stuff. Come meet me. And then while we're sitting there, text like 4 or 5 other people like, you need this action. I was an early investor. Here's this guy. He's a pretty good dude. You need this action. And it's been conversation meeting, and things are just rolling the way it's supposed to. Thanks to Brian.
Amazing.
Wow. Thank you, Brian.
Amazing.
I'm stuck because like that's just. It's got to be daunting taking on the task of starting something from scratch, especially not being well known on the West Coast. Like, what were some of the biggest challenges early on that you were like, Bryan? Like, what was the first Bryan, tell me what to do text?
It was that sponsorship deck. Because, I'm funding it out. I literally cashed in my retirement to make this thing happen after I did my investment, right? So I was like, I believe in this thing. I'm going to take the majority of the money that I have earmarked for how I'm going to live when I'm done working and put it into this, because this is going to be how I'm going to live when I'm done working. I believed in it that much. And I know that my meager retirement was only going to take me so far, and I was going to need sponsors. And lo and behold, the CEO of everything has a sponsorship deck for one of the best sporting things in the country, especially in Nevada. And he was, hey, take this. Don't use it exactly as it is. Change this, change that, and build your sponsorship deck. And I just took his advice and did that and started sending it out to people. Derek, you're not ready yet, but this is great. When you are ready and you have A, B, and C, come back and see us. And that's now. So,
wow.
So that was the initial hump he got me over. But my biggest hurdle, outside of the stuff that Bryan helped with, is I wanted a team because I can run a team. They said, the application's for a division. I said, I don't know what that means. What do you mean a division? It's like, we're going to grant you this division. You need to develop 8 teams that are going to compete against one another and then travel to play other teams once you've determined a division winner. Gotcha. I'm like, okay, I had 30 football players and 3 coaches. You need me to make 8 300? Teams out of yeah. So I struggled the very first year. We had 3 teams, had a great season, but that was my initial big roadblock because they wanted something different than what I was prepared to give them, and I didn't want to walk away from it because I saw the opportunity, and I'm a don't say no kind of guy.
For sure. And so the players, what's like the demographic in that area? Because I can imagine you can get like a high school stud that maybe has never played the game before, but is like, I've played PE football enough. Yeah. And then you could probably get some college guys that are, at the end of their careers, and they're like, hey, I'm ready to light people up.
So those college guys at the end of their career that don't get drafted is our new target audience. Our target audience leading up to this were guys that were JUCO guys that were never going to get that look at the NFL level, that had all the talent but never had the right head to be a corporate guy.
1.5 guys.
Right. You can't be in the NFL without crazy talent, without at least having someone either handling you to make sure that you can walk the corporate line or having the right mentality yourself. Mm-hmm. So these guys who can't walk that corporate line was the primary guy. You said, guys that a little bit, bit off in the head to start out with. Yeah. But it takes that to jump into the league. Once you get there, it's way easier to stay there because, like I said, it's safer. It just looks like it's not as safe because of the no pads, no helmets thing.
Right.
How big are some of these guys? That's a question. Yeah. I'm 6'3", 230.
Yeah, you could play.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
You look like the end.
You got a spot Saturday?
Yeah, absolutely. Not this coming Saturday, but next weekend, because we take the holiday weekends off. But next weekend, next Sunday.
Wow.
What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm a quarterback, so that's good. Yeah.
There's a team called OTT that could probably use you over the top. They've got a decent quarterback, but he's a well-known tailback in Las Vegas. Played for one of the high schools here and ran up a bunch of records for that high school.
Wow.
But he's their quarterback, and he tells me, Derek, I told you I could throw the ball. He threw for 2 touchdowns yesterday, but most of them went like this, like a rainbow shot. You can't see me on radio, but it was a rainbow shot that just went up and down, and he found his receiver in the end zone. But it's for everybody, but the guys are usually between 20 and 38-ish years old. The oldest guy in the league right now that I'm aware of is 52 back east.
Let's go.
There's a guy here in Vegas who's 51, but for the most part, it's right in that 20 to 26-year-old, 28-year-old sweet spot. Guys that just finished JUCO and are looking for a spot, or guys that have been on the couch out of high school for a year or two and like, I need to get back into it.
Nice.
That's been our primary get. What we're also trying to get now is the guys who just got out of a D1 4-year, didn't get a look from the NFL or XFL, USFL, or are trying to make it to those leagues. We are that spot for them to get consistent film, consistent training, because we've got some absolute stud coaches and stud programs within our organization, and people are seeing us as that baseline, as a stepping stone to get to the next level.
Definitely. I would imagine a lot of the recruiting may have come from the flag football leagues out here, because there's like that's the only.
I used to play that.
Yeah. I've played in a couple of the Sunday leagues, and I like all those people. I'm like, you're practically tackling me already, dude. Like, exactly. You might as well just translate it over.
Those are our guys. So the flag leagues here in town, there's two of them. There's the Grid and the other one whose name I can't remember. It's run by a guy named TJ Love, and the Grid's run by Sherm Brown. He's on our board of advisors, and we have talked quite a bit about his guys playing on Sundays and what it means for his teams and things of that nature. So the flag guys look at their spot as a stepping stone to A7FL, and then A7FL a stepping stone to the next league. But we partnered with them because one of the things that Vegas was missing, and this is my favorite story to tell, once I got involved in football at an organization level, I realized that Vegas was a bunch of crabs in a barrel, everyone trying to pull each other down, everyone operating in silos, not talking to one another, not trying to help each other out. I'm a win-win guy. I don't talk to people unless I can bring value to you and you can bring value to me, and we can share in this thing together. Or I can just bring value to you sometimes, because I don't mind being charitable. I don't want to be a martyr, but I don't mind being charitable. So when I get in these conversations, it's win-win. Like, hey, I want to sponsor your league because I need guys from your league. Can I bring you X amount of dollars? Let me pay for your uniforms. Let me pay for your sticks. Let me send guys to do this for you. Let me help you. Let's figure this out together. So now I've got all this equipment, all these uniforms, all this stuff that all the football leagues in town now know I have, and I tell them, anytime you want to borrow it, just let me know. You need sticks for a game, you need markers for a game, you need pylons, tape, whatever it is. I've got this storage shed full of all this shit that needs to go for football, and I want to help you guys with this if you need it. And by the way, can I borrow? I need 2 guys to hold sticks for me to do the runs of chains on Sunday because my referee guys don't have them. Can you help me out with it? Yeah, sure, we got it. So that type of, I'll call it horse trading back and forth, has really endeared me to a lot of these guys. So now I sit on the board of 3 different football leagues in town as a result.
Nice. How cool is that? Good job, B.
I learned from Bryan.
Hey, look, it's about putting the right people around you. I mean, I think listening to Derek, he's obviously very conservative about how he tells the story, but I mean, there's been a lot of times where he's just like, man, this is too much, and he just kept grinding and grinding and grinding. And now it's to the point where it's getting ready to tip.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I love that you see that in people, because I'm sitting across and George and I are sitting here, would hit you with a bunch of questions, but we just let you go because there's passion. You're speaking from a heart and a place that you lived it, and that's what's going to win. That's what's going to get you across into the goal line, because you're sitting in the red zone right now, about ready to score. So that's what's really cool.
Yeah, like Bryan said, we're at a tipping point. I think I'm first and goal, probably from the 15. So I've got my work ahead of me.
Yes, you do.
I can see the end zone and one good play, and we're locked in, man. So
that's amazing.
So one of the things I was wondering, because I've seen it on TV, the commercials run for it, and the reason I pointed at you is because the last guest you had on from Fox 5.
Yes. Yeah. Mike Davis.
What's the sports network?
It's the Triple SEN, Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network, Channel 5.2 on local broadcast, and Cox Channel 125, where you can find our games at 11 o'clock a.m. on Sundays. They run from 11 a.m. to 9:30 p.m.
Where do you play these games? Where are these games?
They're at Bonanza High School.
Okay.
Yeah. So and that's our permanent home for the remainder of this season. And we love the Clark County School District and everything that they've done for us and allowed us to be on their fields. It's not cheap, but it's worth it because they have great looking fields. They had 2 years ago, they had every one of their high school fields changed out for turf and put in really nice sports lighting. So any Clark County School District high school field is just gorgeous now. So our look on TV is better than any other city in the nation when it comes to our broadcast, because they don't have the big logos in the middle. They do have the end zones, but we look great on TV. And even though, it's kind of bootstrap done, we've got bootstrap production, but the product that we put out looks fantastic. And as soon as we get some of that, what we call rocket fuel, big sponsors, we're going to invest in our broadcast, invest in our field, and hopefully build our own stadium here locally.
There was a little organization that I was around in the early days called the Ultimate Fighting Championship, and the guys I worked for 22 years bought that asset, and it was the same exact strategy.
Right.
It was build it, get the right athletes, get the right people around you, and then focus on production. And production, the camera angles, the camera quality, getting the right sponsors on board, everything that we're doing with A7FL is exactly the playbook that the UFC did in the early stages.
Which is why Tough Enough is so awesome. You ever been to a Tough Enough fight? it's like being at UFC. I went to the Apex, for UFC just about a month ago to watch one of our buddies fight, Ode, and I went, wow, this is just a smaller version of what TUFF-N-UFF does, because you guys put on a show. And big screens and sponsors. I met Mike Borden, one of my good buddies, who was a sponsor for you. Sitting
True
there.
Fusion Yoga and Switch, and
yes,
I met Mike in one of the early CEO mastermind groups I was in a long time ago. But it's about production, it's about TV value and quality, and obviously athletes are always at the center of everything, right? I mean, it's that athletic content that drives the eyeballs, right? So I think we're at a really unique, pivotal stage in the growth of the organization. And I think that we're about ready to crack. I mean, this is going to be the biggest year ever for A7FL, for sure.
That's really cool. Do people buy tickets to the games? Or
so, and Bryan just touched on something, and I'll get to your question.
Please get to it.
So I didn't want to gloss over the fact that we do have a bunch of outstanding, super talented athletes that are former NFL players or guys that have been on NFL practice squads, guys that did play D1 at a very high level. One of the guys actually broke Shady McCoy's high school rushing record before he went to Mizzou for 2 years, got injured, was on a Phoenix Cardinals practice squad, and once he was released, he started playing with us, and he's one of our better players. So that's the primary high-level person that's with us now, is guys that were in the league and kind of didn't finish all the way or got injured, and now they're trying to find their way back. But to your question was, I'm sorry, what was that? I just want to make that point.
I asked if people could buy tickets.
Yeah, so tickets, right. Yeah. So number one, kids are always free. But yes, tickets are $20 a day for 4 games.
Oh, wow.
So you come to Bonanza High School, $20 gets you in the gate. There's 2 food trucks that are there every week. So we've got kind of a nice, cool vibe going. There's music going the whole time. Football going consistently on the field. Great spot for a family day, especially with the kids being free. Mom and dad come for $40. 17 kids come in for free and have a great day.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Speaking to my Mormon friends.
Yeah.
Get in the van. Load the minivan.
It's like the drive-in theater.
Yeah, when I was a kid.
How many kids you got in there?
We had a station wagon, and they had a thing that you could hide. My brother and I are hiding down underneath. My mom and dad are the only ones going through, and it's got blankets and pillows and all this food, and we're all hiding. Yeah. Just my mom and dad are going through, and then we could pop out. And it became a thing. It was just a carload it was like $20 for the car.
Yep.
My dad still made us hide just for the fun of it. Later on, we were like, hey, he's like, it was fun, you guys. When they changed the pricing, I remember that.
It was called Carload Chaos. I'll never forget that.
Carload Chaos. That's awesome.
That's so cool.
Get in the trunk.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, no, man. I have to ask. Greatest football movie of all time.
Ooh. If I didn't say what was the David Meltzer movie with Rod Tidwell? Show Me the Money.
Oh,
that was
Jerry Maguire.
Jerry Maguire. So I kind of have to say Jerry Maguire, and I love the movie because my business partner in L.A. is the business partner of the Lee Steinberg, who that character was in Jerry Maguire. So our L.A. division is built around that guy. So I have to say that kind of, but off the record, the program.
Oh, that's cool.
I was a big Florida State fan growing up, and I just loved that it was kind of built around Florida State, and the main guy that was the hard hitter was kind of a Lawrence Taylor type character.
God,
and
I knew I'd get something good out of you. I've never heard of the program.
Oh, such a good movie. Like it's when you go back and watch it now, it's a little weird. But 1990 when it came out, you had the steroid guy, you had the crazy guy.
They had to take that scene out where they were laying in the road.
Yes, because people were doing it. And like making it a dare.
Yeah.
People were laying in the road
and having cars go over the top.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
you weren't even born yet.
Yeah, exactly.
1998 was it? I was born in 1998.
Okay,
so you were born in 98.
See, I graduated high school in 1990 when that movie came out.
I'm not going to say when I graduated because I told you already I'm older than this guy.
Right.
But what's crazy is I have a story that go around that movie, Jerry Maguire. So I was buddies with now I'm blanking. I'm doing this on camera. The star of that movie, Not Tom Cruise, but
Cuba Gooding Jr.
Cuba. Yeah, thank you.
You just did the same thing I did. You're fine.
Yeah,
I called him Rod Tidwell.
Yeah, there we go. Exactly. So Cuba, he used to roll in his Boys in the Hood jacket all the time because the girls would always recognize him. But we'd meet up at this restaurant called Jerry's Famous Deli in Studio City on Ventura Boulevard, and there was a group of us that would hang out. And there's a guy named Bruce Larson. He's a comedian. Myself, Vince Vaughn, Mars, who was Vince's best friend, a guy named T. Russell. And we're all sitting around, and my brother, and we're talking about, we're all actors, and we're all talking about, roles and things. And he's like, I got a dilemma, and I need you guys' help. And he said, I booked a movie, but it's like a small role in a big movie. Or I've got, a guest starring role, but he's one of the main characters in this movie with Ice-T. Ice-T's first movie ever. He's, going to be an actor.
Wow.
And our buddy T. Russell goes, take the small role. And he was very adamant about it. And he goes, why? And he goes, because I'm on hold for the movie. They're waiting for your decision. So what you decide is whether or not I'm on hold. So he goes, well, that decides it. And he went and did this movie called A Few Good Men.
Oh, wow.
And he had a 1-minute scene in A Few Good Men in the courtroom. But he meets Tom Cruise. And Tom Cruise and him hit it off, and he comes back going, Tom's so cool. And, so now we're sitting around talking about it. And then he gets Jerry Maguire and he wins an Oscar. And so it became, we're shooting baskets. We're out playing pickup basketball. And we're like, you got to thank us because you asked us, and we're all like, yeah, take that one. Then T can do that. And T. Russell went and did that movie. So everybody won, but he won an Oscar. So just that whole,
show me the money.
Right.
Exactly. You just never know.
Say it, Jerry.
Yeah.
I don't hear you.
Me the money.
I love it.
What is it? The Quan? The Quan is the real big deal.
Yes.
I want the Quan.
Essence of Quan.
Yeah.
So what's the dream of this? Like what you have? I know Bryan's asked you this question. There's a 5-year plan. What's the 5-year plan? Where do you see this in 5 years?
Yeah, so I'll be completely clean with this. I've actually developed what I think is our plan based on what the league has told me they want to do and what I'm hyper-focused on. So number one, I want to make sure I have a stadium here in town that is built around having indoor football in Las Vegas that is available for the community. So we want to be able to play our games there, but we only play one Sunday, 7-8 weeks a year. Right. There's, 42, with my math, 44 other weeks where we can have Sundays for other people to play, and every other day of the week. There's no indoor stadiums in Las Vegas for football besides Allegiant, period. So that's weird. Bullhead City has one. Las Vegas doesn't have one.
That's the weirdest one.
So that's my primary focus on what I want to have done between now and then. I'm talking to a couple different partners. Hopefully some of these mega casinos folks will take my prospectus and go, yes, I want to do that. So that's number one. Number two, these
you could put on concerts and things like that too at that place.
Absolutely. I mean, there is no 5,000, 7,000 seat arena like this anywhere in Vegas. You have to go Mesquite or Bullhead City to find something like that. So it makes good business sense to have it. Number two, we currently have 8 teams in the spring, and that is my max that I can build out. And that is outdoor the way we play now, March to July. In the fall, I have free reign to have as many teams as I like, and we want to take and make that an indoor game and do an arena-style version of our game and be on a hockey rink-sized place and do indoor football like the Vegas Nighthawks, the Las Vegas Kings, people like that. That's step 2. Step 3 is our 8 club teams for the spring will be just that. They will be eventually just be the club teams, and we will have an all-star team that is our professional traveling team that will be the best of Las Vegas, that will represent Las Vegas on a national level and will be the team that travels to play the better teams around the country. So that's the overall goal. We want to develop a farm system. Well, I guess not the overall goal. That's the top goal. The underneath goals is to have high school teams that actually play 7-on-7 tackle football with no pads, no helmets.
Please
get flags.
Please find a way to make that happen.
Yeah, get the flag teams that are playing in the spring to convert to 7-on-7 tackle, or have an offshoot and have the 3 CSN campuses have a team, and then UNLV have a team that competes on a college level, and those guys get drafted to play at the pro level as well.
Wow.
And the other big thing is we're trying to build out what I call trade school football. So instead of college football for the guys who don't want to sit and do books all day, guys and girls who don't want to sit and do books all day, they can learn a trade, and then go play football for us in the evening. We help them with their room and board while they're learning this trade, and they work in the trade during the day, play football for us at night, and run it like college sports.
Dude, well said.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I think that's the, and I think the biggest thing that you said out of all of that is if you get the high schools to buy into the tackle football, it will increase the quality of athlete and the quality of football. Without a doubt, the biggest gripe I have with where tackle football is headed is the elimination of as many contact days. And to be quite frank, like I've never once, I mean, like for fighting, for example, like you're going to go live, right? Like you need to experience live reps. You need to feel that raw tackle, right, without any shoulder pads. And it eliminates the fear when you do put the pads on. But at the end of the day, it's just making you an overall better player.
Right.
And so many high school football players that I see these days, and it starts with a coach because they're just like afraid, right? But there's proper ways of doing it. And like you've stated before, it's safer. Yes. And I remember vividly when I played high school football, the reason why my team was so good is over the summer, we went live, right? Like, of course, coaches are telling you, keep them up, two-hand touch, but like we understood that we needed to tackle. We needed to bring you to the ground. We need to work on those things. Very similar to the way the A7FL works. So I hope that out of all those, you can find a way to get in with us. And you're already practicing at the high schools and playing there. So I feel getting, teams to buy into that, or finding coaches at the schools like teachers and stuff to buy in. I can say I know some high school football coaches around here. I'm sure you got a big.
We're working on it, and you nailed it. That's our get, and our get is we'd like to hit the big high schools now, the D3, D4, the high levels, but we understand that there's programs around town that want football that don't have it because they can't afford it, and they can't afford it because of the cost of the equipment.
Very true.
Guess what? We have no equipment. We literally, we are basically soccer. Solution. We are volleyball. I mean, we don't even need a net. We're basketball. We're soccer. We don't have equipment, so the cost to entry to have a football program is virtually zero. And we've got fields that you can come on that we have access to, or we can get you access to. And if I get my stadium, you have all the access you want, right? But so we want to help those schools that don't currently have a football program develop their football program through our sport. And that's why I bring up CSN, because they are trying to develop a football program as well.
I think that's the last sport that they need, right? They've got
them all
basketball,
now.
They have baseball.
Yep.
Bryce Harper played there.
Yes, and last weekend was the 20th anniversary of the national championship for CSN. I'm a donor, so I get all this information.
Oh, cool.
Nobody remembers that crap but me. All right?
I mean, to your point, though, it just starts with visibility, right? And that's thanks for having us on, just to get some visibility. But I think as we push through the next phase of the evolution, and obviously Derek's got the plan, right? He's got it fully baked. He spits it out. He knows where he's going. He knows what he's doing.
It's impressive.
So this is not something that is just being patched together over the weekend by a weekend warrior. I mean, you're talking about a straight business plan that has a strategy that's been methodically, building year after season, team after team. But it's visibility and exposure that's going to take it to the next level. So
how cool! You're surrounded by the right people.
Yeah, no, yeah. I'm excited because I pride myself. Grid Iron Junkeez isn't just NFL. Like I've talked high school, I've talked college, and I definitely want to talk some A7FL after I. Go and watch. I want to experience it in person first so I can give my fans like a true, sentiment.
Come to the game on April 16th. I'll put you in the booth with me. We'll have some fun. You can get on the PA. You can get on the broadcast. Whatever you want to do. We can pull that together for you.
I would love to do
Put
that.
him on the
This
field.
dude is
Put him on the field. Yeah, you're young enough to be on the field. And you got the size.
Trust me, I've thought about it. No, when I saw, damn it.
Yeah.
There you go. All right.
I knew it was coming.
You're going to get an offer by tomorrow, I promise.
When I
Look at him, he's all in his San Jose.
When I saw that commercial, I was like, I think Vegas needs a hero.
Love it.
Yes.
We'd love to have you on the field, but if that's not your thing and you want to keep your face pretty.
I also announce. I did football announcing at Vegas High School for 3 years when I taught there. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. Right
I'm
now,
electric on the mic.
I bet. Right now, I'm our PA guy, and I enjoy it, but I'd rather
Listen
not.
to that voice. Come on, man. Like,
yeah.
I closed my eyes when he was talking for a moment, and I was like, yeah, this guy should be, he's got a radio voice. You know, like,
yeah, face for radio, too.
Yeah. Turn off the cameras. Chase, turn off the cameras. He said it. I wasn't going to. Right. Just kidding, man. No. So before we go, I want to make sure that we're touching on everything. TUFF-N-UFF, can you announce when the next TUFF-N-UFF is happening yet?
Not yet, but it's coming soon. Coming soon. We just had an amazing show over at Sahara. The team over there took really good care of us. And we do shows at Circa and all that. So as soon as we finalize that contract, we'll announce it. But it's same TV. You know, we're on BN Sports Network with 280 million homes. And then we broadcast the pro card on UFC Fight Pass. So 60 countries. So
dude, I have sat next to you at the fights, and I'm sitting next to Dana White or Reed Harris, a VP of UFC. And you guys now have pro fighting going on at your events.
Yeah, so that's why we did the deal with UFC Fight Passes. So, you know, because obviously our mission that Barry Meyer, the founder of TUFF-N-UFF, when he started it, was to give this platform to amateurs to be able to, you know, get time in the cage. And that platform has obviously expanded, and now the UFC enabled us to have a contract with them on Fight Pass, and so those athletes are pros. So a lot of them are, you know, 2, 3, 4 fights under their belt, and we help them transition from our pro division into either PFL or UFC or whatever it looks like. So, I mean, like Ryder Newman, you know, young Green Valley high school wrestler. I've been wrestling with him since he was, you know, in junior high. Came through our youth program. Went off to wrestle at Wyoming, came back. He's been TUFF-N-UFF as an amateur. He's fought in other fight leagues. He's came back to TUFF-N-UFF, and now he's fighting for a title for TUFF-N-UFF.
Oh wow,
so,
that's awesome.
Yeah, and then he was on the Ultimate Fighter, and he's on the Contender Series. I mean, he's like right there, of snagging that UFC fight.
Is that fun for you to see?
Oh, that's the whole mission for me. I mean, that's what it's all about. And now with the youth program, the little kids. You know, they come through the program, they go to college, we help them, you know, find colleges and get scholarships, just like, you know, Sterling Diaz and all those kids that are getting out into the collegiate level. And then we want to bring them back, get them into MMA, and help them find their way into the, I mean, you look at Bo Nickel. I mean, Bo Nickel is one of the UFC's, you know, probably the biggest UFC star to come out of collegiate wrestling outside of Daniel Cormier.
Right.
He's, I mean, was on the pay-per-view, his first big UFC fight. He was on the pay-per-view and had a submission in the first round. I mean, and the kids on a stratosphere path.
How cool.
And so, yeah, I mean, he was a youth wrestler, you know, 5 years ago.
Well, a Hero's Journey podcast, literally at the beginning of this, I said, it's like we wake up the hero of our own story. We're the star of our own movie. Like, it's how we want to handle it. And what I think is cool about B is you're always seeing that in other people. Like you doing your thing, you live a good life. And I always tell you, you've earned it. You worked really hard. I don't know anybody who works harder than you. But the fact that you see that in other people, you saw that in Derek, and you're going, hey, yeah, let me be a part of this. I know you walked in excited. I had to tell you to stop talking. He was so excited. I'm like, can you like save this for when we're on camera,
right.
You know, like save this stuff because it's true. But your passion, it just bleeds out of you. And it obviously bleeds out of Derek. Derek, like I said, it's easy. It's just like, go. You're answering all the questions that I'm like ready to ask, but they're there. And it's a passion, and I know it's going to succeed because of it, because of what you're putting into this. And you're seeing that in other athletes. You're not throwing out names because you're treating everybody equal who's hitting that field, which is really cool. And I noticed that about what you're doing. And same with George. George, I've never seen him so tame. Huh, Chase? He's like, he's being real mellow today. You're tame today.
I tried to not use my arms as much when I talked on this podcast.
Yeah, but this guy is so passionate about football.
You should have said something to me. I was all over the place with my arms.
No, trust me. I overanalyze after all those shows. But yeah, no, like, I guess I should have attacked you with some more football energy.
I'm ready.
Can we break the biggest football story of the week?
Yeah, please.
For me? Okay, so we're going to break it on your show.
Okay, yeah.
So my youngest daughter, Malia, has been applying at colleges all over the country.
Okay.
And she's been accepted into some really badass schools. And
congratulations.
She's nobody knows this yet, so we'll be breaking it live.
Okay.
Hero's Journey podcast. Awesome.
I love it.
My daughter is going to be a freshman at the University of Alabama.
Whoa.
Roll Tide, baby. Let's go.
Man, I have to stop hating them.
Cool. Dude, that's my favorite school.
Yeah. So I'll be, I'm actually heading down to Bama next week with her. We're going to she got into the business school there. She's going to major in entrepreneurship. And so we're going down next week to, it's called Bama Bound. Is the name of the program. It's like one of the orientation programs you go through. And then tomorrow night at her senior year cheer banquet, they're going to announce it. So I don't know what time this comes out.
No, this comes out on Wednesday, so it'll be after.
It'll be out.
Yeah.
It'll be
a good dad.
How cool.
So her friends are going to find out tomorrow.
I'm dropping the clip tonight. Kidding.
So roll Tide, baby. Next time I'll come in all decked out. But, so we broke it on the show.
Dude. And
that's awesome.
That's what I'm saying. Cheer dad, this guy, Natasha, is his beautiful better half. Have you met Natasha?
I have not. I haven't pleasure yet.
Dude.
Soon, I'm sure.
This guy was probably like the frat boy running all over town until she like wrangled him in and then, made him who he is. But no, together they're a great team.
I've seen pictures. I follow him on Facebook pretty religiously. He lives a grace life. And
yes, he does.
While I'm on the field, I'm living vicariously.
Yeah, well earned. But the thing is, B,
fire.
Like, I got to have you on this show, and we got to talk about how you became Bryan Lindsey. I know the stories, but they no. I've sat down and I've asked you some of these stories, and they need to be shared because they're inspiring, and that's what it is. It's stepping into the unknown. A hero's journey is that call to action, and then stepping into that new adventure and not knowing. And Bryan was your mentor in all this. He mentored you through this process in the area that you didn't know. He just was pointing you. You got stuck, and he was your, like, I don't know, Obi-Wan or something, somebody who was helping you guide that.
Saved me hours of time and thousands of dollars trying to figure it out myself.
Exactly.
When someone knows better than you and they've already beat their head against the wall 1,000 times and they tell you here's how to do it, you just follow that plan instead of beating your own head against the wall.
To every young person out there, I wish that I was talking to my young self, and met Bryan a long time ago. Right. I'm telling you guys, Chase.
Oh, yeah,
the two of you guys. What are you, like 24?
Yeah. We do a pretty good job of listening to our elders, and I think we're just going to stay on that path, and we'll keep following the good advice. This studio really breeds, though, like great growth. I mean, all the different stories and people that we're able to meet, and the people that you've brought in have really been insightful just to like our careers, like without us knowing it. Because it could all go away. Like, the studio's awesome. I'm able to engineer lots of shows. I'm sure Chase feels the same way, but it's like we'll look back and we won't realize that for 2 straight years or however long it lasts, we had so many lessons given every single day.
Right.
And we're blessed because we're a bunch of young bucks looking to be like you guys someday.
Not to mention, we are in the room with these people right now, and otherwise, we would not be.
Right.
Yeah,
true. Right.
That's so true.
Right.
Good point.
So, Derek, before we go, in like any advice to anybody out there right now, like chasing that dream, that goal, that you have, that you could impart on the 24-year-old, even myself. You don't have to be, by the way, you don't have to be 24 years old to have a dream. You don't have to. To be honest, it's the truth. Yeah. You're constantly tackling new things all the time. You got your hand in this and hand in that. And that's a new baby that you've started, and you're standing on the mountain that you've already built, which is impressive as hell, B. But you don't have to out there. You can tackle something, wake up, and just start going after whatever it is that fuels you. But what is it? Like,
I got a few for you. The first in business, especially when you're trying to come up, is if you find yourself in a room of people and you're the smartest room, give them as much wisdom as you can and then leave, because you're not educating yourself and growing.
Right.
You are the top dog there. You need to get out of that room and get yourself in a space where other people know more than you, so you can learn from them. That's number one. Number two, givers gain. I live in the world of charity, and I give every chance I get. Anybody who asks if I have it, I will give it most of the time without questions asked, unless you've asked me 20 times, and I'm like, what's going on? But givers gain. I know that every time I give something unconditionally, it's coming back to me tenfold without me asking. And lastly, get myself into win-win propositions. If I brought this up earlier on the show, if I get myself in this situation where I'm getting into business with somebody, I don't want to do business with them unless I'm bringing them value. Because if I'm not bringing them value, they have no need for me. I'm just taking their money and they're eventually going to get rid of me and be unhappy with my services. So win-win every time, and that's how I get down.
Love that. Love that.
And
well
take
said,
action.
man.
Take action.
Yes.
Yeah.
Most people
Definitely.
won't take action.
Yeah.
You know,
They talk about it all day long.
Talk about it. They say they don't believe in themselves. They don't take action and surround themselves with the people that's going to get them to the next level. And take a risk. I mean, what's the worst thing that's going to happen?
You're going to fail. That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Or
As they call it, learning. You're learning, and then you move forward.
Right.
Yeah.
No, well done. Well, thank you guys so much for being a part of this, Derek.
Man, for sure.
The AF7, A7FL.
So American 7 Football League.
Yep.
A7FL.
American
We just call it
7
A7
football.
for short, so people
A7.
don't mess it up. Right.
A7.
Yeah.
A7.
Just
I
A7.
love it. I love it. You got so excited when I
know.
told you I was
I'm
bringing him on.
jazzed. I'm
yeah.
jazzed.
So, George, thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Bryan.
Derek, thanks for being here.
Thank you, George, the future D lineman.
Yeah, exactly. Sign them up.
Oh!
Sign them up.
And
D-Hop,
Bryan,
future quarterback.
yeah,
Let's go. Same team.
same team. Can there be two heroes?
Dude, we
That's all I want to
We
know.
toss the ball in the back sometimes, and I don't know if you felt what I felt.
It's some magic.
Can make some magic happen.
There will be a team in LA called the Hollywood Heroes. It makes perfect sense for you to be on that.
yes.
Oh, that's badass.
I like that. I'm going to have to up my insurance, though.
You got to stay pretty on stage, baby.
Jeez, you know what I'm saying? Bryan's doing this show in a chair. Why? I was playing football last weekend. Yeah. B, thank you so
man,
much.
appreciate
Bryan
it.
Lindsey,
Thanks for having me.
thanks for making
Absolutely.
this happen. This is a Hero's Journey podcast. I want to thank my sponsors, JPS Computers, S&P Inc., and Red Rock Harley Davidson. And to those listeners out there at Rock Rage Radio, thank you so much. Chase, producer Chase, you got something to say before we bounce?
Follow us. We are like, this close to having what, almost 12,000 followers now
On YouTube.
Yeah.
it's-
Let's just make 12,000 happen by the end of this month. Let's do it. Make it happen.
Let's do it. So again, this is a Hero's Journey podcast. My name is Bryan Hopkins. Stay safe, be kind. All right, guys.
Dream, and I believe it's coming around to me.